This video does not mean to defame, it means to warn for the most dangerous downside to New Zealand, its medical system, that has cost me my life. New Zealand pushes the narrative of a world-class healthcare system by systematic fraud with test results and murdering everyone with anything more complicated than a gallstone. 30% of immigrants and 1 to 5% of visitors will get murdered for issues that would have been successfully treated everywhere else in the world, even in third world countries. My other video shows that North Shore doctors in Auckland, New Zealand photoshopped my infected obstructed bowel out of their x-rays and left it on the liver in May of 2021, where it is too close to the skin and prone to rupture with the slightest impact, which happened in December of 2021. That is always deadly without treatment, because the acid fluid that leaks out will burn all your organs and structures to death. The other video also shows how Auckland City Hospital removed 500 slices that showed the leak from their official copy of the CT scan to not treat an issue that all involved knew is deadly without treatment, because the focus of hospitals is not on treatment, it is exclusively on fabricating an alibi for even the most cruel and torturous of murders. In normal countries, fraud with medical test results is a serious crime, but in New Zealand it is the cornerstone of the medical system, if you can call it that. When I was sent back in, Auckland City did not want to take me back, so that gave North Shore the opportunity to also fraud an alibi. North Shore did that by ordering lots of food to hide the fact the patient cannot eat, by concocting blood results without a test, and by not providing prescribed medication, antibiotics or IV fluid that were all essential for survival, to not spoil the narrative that the near-dead patient is happy-go-lucky skipping through the hospital. They jam the IV line in, refuse a blanket no matter how cold you are, and give a pole for your IV fluid bag that doesn't roll, to make you trip and that you cannot get into the toilet, so you have to leave the door open in a ward with 30 people. They give only one bag of IV fluid in 48 hours to the burning patient, while normally you get 6. To not spoil the narrative, you are basically tortured. Not even an animal could do that to a person. They also lose the x-rays that you were admitted on right away. What else is new? It is not possible to explain how sadistically cruel this all is when you are deadly ill and alone at the end of the world. For anything and nothing, the bullies and loose cannons in New Zealand killer clinics torture you, and all they do is lie, lie, lie. You will now hear an example of a typical New Zealand bullying, lying, loose cannon.
Have any indication to order an MRI scan?
Why don't you have an indication? I'm sick.
Because there's nothing on your blood test that's concerning, and I can't physically examine you. I don't want to get in an argument about it.
I was admitted to the CT scan where it shows I'm full of fluid. That is the indication.
Sure. I understand.
I'd like to put myself in this.
Oh, excellent. Thanks. All right. Look, I can't find any indication to need one, so...
Shall we put back on it?
No, we're not popping you back on the drink. I'm happy you can have something to drink.
That is torture.
Okay.
That is torture.
Alright.
That is physical torture.
Okay. I disagree.
I want to be put back to the drink.
Not putting you back on a drink.
I haven't been eating and drinking in
We'll see what your blood tests
days.
show. Okay?
That is forcing me.
Okay. Alright, jolly good. You sure you don't?
I want to see another doctor, not for second opinion. I don't want to deal with you ever again. Not effective then. Not a doctor, not partial.
That's fine. I'm happy to get another surgeon involved. Okay?
Yes.
As you have just heard, he refused the MRI test and essential IV fluid based on blood results that were not available as no blood was drawn. But in line with North Shore habit of systematic fraud with test results, he simply concocted results that suited the narrative. The huge bump on my head, result of a fall, would have been a reason for any hospital to run an MRI scan, but the true reason for refusal of the scan obviously is not non-existing blood results. It is fear to accidentally bring prior falsifications, mistakes, or issues that require treatment to light, as that would have seriously spoiled the skipping patient narrative. And in New Zealand hospitals, the narrative is all that counts, regardless the cost for the patient. In New Zealand, the patient is entitled to a meaningful conversation. We have just heard what that is like. Okay? Alright? Keep it short. Okay? Alright, I disagree. I don't want an argument. Okay? Alright? The other doctor I was promised never came, because instead of involving one, the surgeon had discharged me behind my back and ordered the nurses to throw me out, which they did in a wheelchair as I was deadly ill and couldn't walk or sit. So much for the right to be treated with dignity, respect and care. Even in third world Muslim countries, I would have been loaded up with IV fluid and antibiotics, and that would have given me a fighting chance. But New Zealand scammers murder people as they slaughter animals on their farms without ethics, compassion or any regard for law or life.